Hey dudes and chicks, and neither of those rules don't apply to you. Welcome to Make It For Last Time. My name is Katie. Today I'm gonna be popping this palette's cherry. It's the Earthy palette by Beauty Bay. It was $25 for this big fatty, this Bo Daddy right here. That's what the color story looks like. And quite frankly, when the Wilderness palette came out, I liked it and sort of regretted not getting it, but mostly I felt like it was missing something. And so when they came out with this, I was like, okay, that's what it was missing, was all the rest of this shit. So I feel like this is the Wilderness palette, only 2.0. And you guys know how I love bigger palettes. Those of you who don't love bigger palettes, the Wilderness palette is probably adequate for you. But I like to have a lot of a range of tones that are not like limited to like a couple of shades. So this palette is super affordable. It was like $25. The other thing that I was going to say is that I have really obviously changed my hair color. I am like want to build a relationship with green. I kind of go into why in the video. So if you guys are interested in hearing why I want to build a better relationship with green, or you want to see how I got this look, or you want to hear my final thoughts on this palette, or if you just like to watch, then hang out. Okay, I'm going to start with my MORPHE M506, the trusty old handy dandy MORPHE M506. And I'm going to go into the color Seaweed. Yeah, I've just really been, you know, green still is not like my favorite color, but lately I've been really wanting to represent some things in my life, like growth and money and like wealth and stuff like that. So I've been wanting to like use the color green more in my life, like just to kind of like put like energy and focus onto those things. Like I don't know, a lot of you may or may not know this, but I grew up like extremely poor, like very poor. Like my needs were not met, my safety was non-existent. And so like, you know, I'm not gonna like really go into that because like, you know, my channel's public and most of the people that are a big part of my life like already know that piece of my story. But like my needs were not met. And it could be like, some people might say like, oh, you always had a roof over your head and like you always had this or that. But the truth is, you know, I didn't always have like all the things that I need, and I didn't feel a sense of safety. So whatever, that's everybody's own perception. Your trauma, like, you know, trauma survivors, you're gonna like, if you, most of you, a lot of you that watch my channel are trauma survivors. One of the things that like draws you to my channel is like that piece of your life, right? I'm going to use another MORPHE M506 and I'm going to go into the color Cobra. You know, trauma survivors often, like, we don't like to call trauma. Like, if we've been through trauma, we like to tell ourselves, well, there's other people who have been through way worse. And you know, it's like, it is what it is. And like, my parents did the best they could. Those things are all true. Like, that's totally fine. But like, you know, as the years go by, you can't really work on your trauma until you really admit that you have it. And honestly, I feel like I have always thought that my circumstances could have been worse. I know people who have gone through way worse. And so like, I knew like I was fucked over and like a little bit fucked up. And I used to always, I would quote unquote it mommy issues. But like, that's like trauma survivors' way of like minimizing the impact of like what has happened to them. And so whatever, the bottom line is like, I don't live in the past and I don't blame anybody for my behavior anymore, but I did. And the truth of it is like, you can't really work through that shit until if you can't even admit that it's real. And so one of my things is that I'm going to go into the color Seahorse. I'm maybe sticking to a theme here, because my hair looks like sea bitch big time. Oh, I know, my hair looks amazing. I'm like so excited about it. I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna go 50% on. Ooh, that's really covering, that's nice. Oh, am I even telling you? This is my ZOEVA 227. when you can't even name that you have it, there's no way of working on it. So at one point, like, I went through a breakup that really fucking broke my heart. And, like, I really wanted to, like, it was everything I could do, but I really wanted to get to the heart of what it was about my behavior that I needed to change so that I could, like, have a better, I could have a better relationship in the future. Like, I didn't really know when that future would be, because I knew clearly after that breakup, it was pretty clear to me that I wasn't going to be able to just, like, be in a relationship. I had some shit to fucking work out, right? I'm going back into seaweed, but it was really important to me. I knew that continuing to talk about his part in it and why he left and what he did and what was wrong with him was never going to serve me. So I needed to, like, get to work on, like, what needed work on me. I'm going back into Cobra because I kind of don't really have enough of that color, which is fine because I always end up going way higher than I want to anyway. So I started going to this group. It's called ACA, Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families is what it is. I'm using my Wayne Goss number 19, and I'm going to go into the color Fresh. What do you think? You're fresher than her? Just because she's dead don't mean she ain't fresh. So Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families. And basically, like, what that is that's like a group that, like, talks more about, like, the behaviors. They're called the laundry list of behaviors that you participate in when you grew up in a dysfunctional or alcoholic home. And I would say even a codependent enabling home. Like, so in my family, there wasn't any addiction, but there was a lot of codependency. And so that's, like, in my entire family, which most of my family is, they're loving and, like, generous and codependent, but they're, like, still, they're not, like, so fucked up. Whereas, like, my small inherited part of our family was, like, pretty painful. Essentially, it's called the laundry list of these behaviors that you participate in as a result of the way that you were raised in trauma. And one of the questions when I was, like, I started to, like, go into the book, the, like, literature that they have and, like, working in the, like, steps in their book. Like, I just barely started, and then I just decided I was going to do that stuff in my Narcotics Anonymous steps. But one of the questions that it asked was, as a child, did you always have food, and were your basic needs met? Food, electricity, warmth, shelter, and those kinds of things. And I, like, realized that, like, when kids don't have those things, it fucks them up. You know what I mean? And so, like, the physical abuse in my home was, like, you know, it wasn't non-existent. The biggest, like, piece of physical abuse is, like, I'm not going to talk about that on here, but I'm just going to talk about, like, what it's like for what happens to kids when they don't get their needs met. Because when I read that question, I was like, that's a thing? That's actually a thing. Yeah, it's a fucking thing. And so basically, I'm just going in through these colors and, like, you know, getting them to where I love them. And, like, kind of, I'm just going to bring that darker green down, down, down. So yeah, it's a thing. And basically, like, the point of what my story is that because of the way that I was raised, I have a really unsafe and unsupportive relationship with money. Now, a lot of people were raised the exact same way, and they grow up chasing money. They grow up, like, really going after it and really going and getting it. So I'm not saying that the reason why I have had struggles with money is because I grew up without money. I'm just saying that my particular response to that situation was that I have had a really unsafe and threatened relationship with money, and my finances have been, like, unstable and unsafe. And so I'm really, like, working hard right now on doing things in my life to change that, like organizing my systems and, like, being more committed. And I just really think that looks beautiful. Being more committed to my health and my wellness, like taking better care of myself, making my diet and my exercise more of a priority. I'm going to go in with this gray and actually put that out on the tail here. And it's been working. I feel like things are really starting to get better and better. Now, not by any stretch are they fixed. I've been kind of in, like, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but like I feel like I've reached a bottom, a rock bottom when it comes to finances in my life. And so it's gotten to the point where I've really become willing to make some changes, like some changes in ways that feel really uncomfortable to me, like, you know, creating like systems. It's really about possibility, right? So when people, I grew up in kind of a filthy home and like with very little like discipline and like no money, always crying about money, like that kind of shit. So when people, it's really about possibility. So like when people grow up in homes where there's like loving relationships, like the mom and the dad love each other and like all that shit, right? Then they grow up like just thinking like basically like their loving relationships are possible. So in my home, my mom was married one time for 4 years and it ended in divorce. She was pretty much single my entire life. And she's like, you know, single. My grandma was single my entire life. And so, and also we were like so poor. And so really like this idea of possibility, like loving relationships weren't a possibility growing up, and neither was like paying your bills and like having a comfortable situation when it comes to your money and finances. And so I've been like really like working on like organizing my systems in a way that feels aligned for me, because I do not like to be owned by some bullshit, right? And so I really started using this like system. It's totally badass actually. And it's based on like the Getting Things Done system, and the fucking, the ones I found are based on the Getting Things Done and PARA, P-A-R-A, and then PPV. They're all like built into these Notion templates. It's called Notion. And it's like this organization life system that's based on like, I don't know, it's really fucking cool. And you create it on your computer. I'll leave a link in the description box below if you guys want to just check it out. I mean, I don't know, like, I know a lot of you guys are juggling a lot, and I know that a lot of you are also like me. Your mental health is like, sometimes it's really good and then sometimes it's really bad, right? Like, so a lot of us are like the same. Like, we're, you know, the people on my channel, we're all like basically cut from the same cloth, I feel like. You know, if you're here, it's because like, I'm not for everybody, you know what I mean? So if you're here, it's because like, there's like, we're alike in certain ways. And so, you know, I wouldn't go out of my way to like get outside of my niche or anything, but like, I will leave a link to Notion in the description box below, because it's basically like, you can build it into any fucking thing you want. I'm just going over the same colors on my lower lid because I'm talking as per frickin' usual. Sorry guys, sorry that I decided to talk. I honestly didn't think I was gonna say anything for this video, but I essentially like did all my yearly goals, broke them all down, and then went in and turned them into weekly tasks, and they basically like check themselves. You check it and it disappears and it goes into an archive, and it's like this slick fucking system. Well, you can decorate each page any way you want, so I've got mine filled with like pink skulls and like badass sayings and like all this cool shit, and like it really goes in alignment with my stuff that I did for spring equinox and like my manifestations. And dude, I've been like kind of crushing it, and so it feels really good. And I feel like my mental health has been improving because of the fact that like I feel like I am actually like working towards something that's like meaningful to me. And also it feels like there's maybe an end in sight. I'm going back into Cobra right now to kind of just give myself a little lifty poo right here. And then I'm gonna go into Fresh. Just because she's dead don't mean she ain't fresh. I love that. Okay, I'm actually gonna do that in the right here too, because pretty. Okay, I'm in love with this, and so I'm gonna go in with I'm gonna use my JESSUP 233, and I'm gonna cut the crease with Basic in Hint of Mint by P. Louise. I'm gonna squirt it on my back of my hand, give it a little squirty poo. I don't remember if this was the brush, but I tell ya, I did a thing on my Patreon. I just literally cut my crease like so easily. Oh, it was with the, I don't know if it was with this brush or not, but I basically just went like this. Yeah, it was with the P. Louise Acid Rain, not this. Nope, I fucked that up, didn't I? I'm going to use my cut crease brush because I can't handle that shit right there. There we go. I'm going to use this, I'm going back into seaweed, and I'm just going to tap this in right here. Anyways, so hence the reason why I've been like doing like these little weird like symbolic ways of focusing more directly on money, which I've been talking about on here. It's not like it's a big secret that I've been doing that. I'm just going back in and really deepening up this outer V. I really like that shape. It's just barely, it's like actually really close to my natural shape, but like just above the brow bone enough to like curve it up instead of letting it go down. So yeah, I guess I mean, maybe I'll just go into it right now. You guys know, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I'm making a class on, it's called Changing the Face of 40, and it's really about like using makeup to look younger. And like the things that I do, my tips and tricks on how to use makeup to make yourself look younger. And the reason why it isn't already published is because I actually have had, well, because perfectionism is the fucking thief of fucking everything, is a thief. But also because like I really couldn't figure out exactly the format that I wanted to use and how to do it. And so I kind of figured out that I'm going to do it with a Notion template. And like, so then it will be in the form of like a hard copy. You'll get like a copy and you'll have all these things that you can click on, different types and formats of resources. I'm really excited about it. I should be done with it by probably the end of April, but yeah, I'm stoked about it because it's like actually like it really has, it's given me the ability to really bring it together for you guys, to give you something really awesome and tangible, and also something that you can communicate on to me as well. It's really fucking cool. I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm not going to talk anymore about it, but yeah, that's what the holdup is. I know that a lot of you guys have expressed interest in that, something like that for me. And I mean, it kind of was on hold for a while because I really just couldn't figure out how I wanted to like make it. So I thought I was going to do it a certain way, and then I changed my fucking mind because that wasn't working for me. What am I going to do now? Tell me. I'm just kind of letting this set up. Word. Okay, so now I'm going to use my ZOEVA 234, and I'm going to go into the color Pixie. I don't know why I felt the need to use that P. Louise primer, because this is really good, and honestly I wish you guys could actually see. I wish I could see how, like, I wish I would have given it more of a chance. Sorry about that, I wasn't thinking. I got away from myself. There is actually an artist rebel inside of me that like wants free. You know, I'm just gonna do this because honestly I was gonna do something else, but I changed my fucking mind. I'm just tapping this. And then, okay, I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the lower lid. I'm gonna spray this, give it a little spritzy poo with my MAC Fix Plus. And then I'm gonna use my MORPHE pencil brush from the Ice Lay collection, and I'm gonna go into Ray. This is like a goldy color with a mint green undertone or reflect. I feel like the shimmers in this are really fucking good. They're like really shifty. They have a lot, they're not disappointing at all. They have a lot of different colors, like duochrome. And then and also I'm going to go in with that same color and I'm going to go over the high point of my lid because I'm just crazy about this. See how that just adds that something? You know, you can't really ever see it as well once I get my lashes on, but fuck, you can really see it now. Like, I'm gonna go finish the rest of my face and I'll be back when I'm done. So, this is the manifesto, the pièce de résistance. I use my Rouge and Rogue eye wigs. I found them in a box of old eye wigs. I have no idea what they are. They're actually old as shit and they're in way better condition than the ones that I've been using. So, I'm gonna order some lashes. I used my Sugar Pill Sub-Zero Lippy, which doesn't match. It's actually blue as opposed to like Mermaider by Black Moon is actually green, but I think it gives it like a nice touch. And also I use this as my eyeliner or on my waterline. And then my Melt Cosmetics cream blusher in Polished. Looks like this. And I actually had it on before we started. And then I use my Rituel Defy green. And I barely used any. I want to use more. I'm like this. I feel like that's not very much, but yeah, this is the final look and I fucking love it. Plan on this being kind of the mood for me lately because like I'm all about like rebirth, growth, springtime, money. My hair color is fucking killer. Man, my hair colors have been so satisfying lately. Like it really makes me excited to look at my head and to like create looks that match my hair. So anyways, the palette performed really well. It's like Beauty Bay standard. I feel like I understand what people mean when they say that they don't like this formula per se. I really do enjoy the formula and it's really affordable and you get a lot of colors and they always give you a great value. I feel like their Makeup Revolution prices and what's a good example? I feel like they perform better than Morphe, but they're not quite as pigmented maybe. I don't know what a good example is. But I feel like they're definitely really inexpensive and really affordable and really great palettes, especially for beginners. I literally never have problems blending these shadows ever. Fucking no problems at all. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell because you can't wait to see what happens next. Hit the like button if you like this look or if you just like my sparkling personality and my boyish charm, and hang out with me in the comments because I fucking love it. If you got like halfway through this video and you were like, oh my god, this girl is so pretty till she opens her big fucking mouth, then go check me out on Instagram because I don't talk as much on Instagram. And if you guys were like, don't sugarcoat it, Katie, why don't you tell us how you really feel, then go check out my Patreon. And I actually have been posting more regularly lately and like more really getting a feel for like what I want to put on there. And so thank you guys, those of you losties who have been sticking it out with me through the beginning stages and like really going through some growth and like figuring out what's gonna stick and throwing things at the wall and seeing what stays and everything like that. So thank you guys so much for watching. You could have been anywhere, but you were here wasting your time with me and I totally appreciate you. Later. Slayer.